Okay, guys and gals, about 10 seconds of the obligatory disclaimer. If you want to read the whole thing, just pause the video. Okay, everybody, let's take a look at something a little bit different. I do this every once in a while. Earlier in 2021, I talked about a 75-month cycle. Some of you may remember that video I put out. But today we're going to talk about a couple cycles in the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Okay, it's a very long-term monthly chart. Now, the white cycle is something that Steve Miller did recently on his YouTube channel, and this one right here is 84-month cycle, or basically 7-year cycle. He did a very interesting video on some quarterly stuff, and of course monthly. It's a pretty decent cycle. I really can't complain. It's pretty solid. We're going to look at that just briefly. I don't really want to steal his thunder and cover the same thing he covered, but we'll look at that very briefly. But I also want to look at a 68-month cycle, I think it is, that I think is also really very good. Yeah, 69 months. Okay, so let's look at the longer one first, this 84-month cycle, and just kind of taking a long-term look at the stock market. Now, in this case, guys, in case you don't know, we're all the way back here in 1902. Okay, Dow Jones Industrial Average has been around a long time. I think it even goes back into the early 1800s. I mean, late 1800s. Okay, so this over here on this left side is 1902, 1903. Okay, so this over here is 1932. Okay, and so we'll scroll to the right as we get through this, but let's just take a look at how these cycles, where they fall, okay? Kind of hard to tell here because the candlesticks are a little bit small, but you can tell there's a little bit of a price decline here. And for those that don't know cycle analysis, basically that's this arc right here, this semicircle, okay? And we're looking to see this price decline where two cycles come together. Okay, in this case they did. So that's pretty good back there in 1903. In this case, it did again really good right here. This one, it kind of did. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, there's a decline in price there, so it's there. It isn't always good. I'm sorry, forget that one. We'll do that one later. This one, definitely a price decline there. And it's okay if it's a few months on either side because these are very long-term cycles, right? We're talking going over a period of many decades, so we don't mind if it's a little off on each side of this exact bottom. Okay, that one's 1917. Okay, here's one in 1920, almost 1921. Really good there. Oops, keep grabbing the wrong one. We'll come back to that one. This one, the white one, it's pretty good. A little late, but it's okay. Let's look at this one over here. That one's really good, right? Of course, that's coming off the part of the Great Depression. Stock market crash in 1929. Coming through here. But like I talked about this before, a lot of people don't know that the Great Depression wasn't just the stock market of 1929 crash. It lasted many years, long time. From really the Roaring '20s were all this, right? And then the Great Depression was from 1929 all the way through like 33, 34, even 35. People were really still struggling. Even though the market kind of rebounded, people are still struggling during this whole time. This entire time right here. Okay, anyway, back to this white cycle, 7-year cycle. Pretty good right here, coming down into 1938, 39. Okay, kind of a miss right here. I mean, there's a little something there, but not a whole lot going on there. Would have been better if it was over here. But okay, it's, This one's actually pretty decent. Prices stalled and flattened out and came down, so that's pretty good. Okay, let's move on to get this moving to the right. I'll clean up the screen here. So this one is 1960, 1959. Not so good. It's okay. It's not really very accurate, to be honest. You can see that red one we'll talk about later is more accurate. Here the 69-month and 84-month both really come in nicely. So nailed it 1966, 65, 66 there. This is actually pretty good right here, guys, for this white cycle right here, the big cycle, because it absolutely hit it right in the middle of the cycle, and I call that a home run. If you see something right in the middle of the cycle, price decline or price stall, that's good. Okay. So even though it kind of hit here too, it did a pretty good job right here. The cycle's pretty solid. Okay. Here's not bad. Off by just 2 or 3, 4 months right there for this big drop right there. So I think that's pretty solid. Okay, let's keep going on here. Kind of hard to tell. The prices got so crazy. But this is 1987. For those who don't remember, I was around then. But big stock market crash in 1987. The biggest stock market crash other than the Great Depression. Yeah. That one absolutely nailed it. So that 7-year cycle there, right on the money for 1987 crash. This is where things get so crazy. The prices just get so out of control. Really can't even see much there, but there's a little something right there going on. Okay. And now we're all the way in current times here. Pretty solid right there. You can see prices came down in year 2000, 2001 I mean. This was pretty solid here, 2008, 2009, so that's solid. 2015, pretty solid right there. They look small because of this ridiculous nonsense, but they actually weren't small. Those moves are really big. And so with Steve Miller's cycle, he's talking about, something coming up really this summer, kind of like July, August, September time, okay, somewhere in there. I think he said specifically, I think June or July. But I was kind of fiddling around a little bit back and forth with where this kind of fell. But basically anywhere, guys, from like late spring to even autumn of 2022 is kind of where he has that cycle, okay? If you wanted to kind of nail the month, you could say July, I think, is where he had it. But it could go as early as, May and as late as September, right? So somewhere in that area, that time frame is where he has his next cycle low. And it's pretty solid. Like I said, I really can't refute that his cycle's bad, because it's not. It's a good cycle. I mean, it hits in a lot of key spots. All right, so let's go back and look at the red cycle. And that cycle, like I said, is 69 months. Let's take a look at that one. It lines up really good with the other cycle already. Here, to be honest, it didn't really hit it. The white cycle's better. Here, it absolutely nailed it. In 1915, or maybe that's 1916. April of 1915. It nailed that really good. That was a big move. Here it nails it. In 1921. Really nice. This is pretty good right here too. You got two sizable down movements. It nails it there. Okay. Let's move forward to the 1931, 32. And this is where this cycle, absolutely nailed it here. Yeah. Absolutely found right at the bottom, 1932. This red cycle is really very good. I think it's better than the 7-year cycle, to be honest. It nails it again here in 1938, like right on. Of course, this cycle is pretty good too. You really can't refute this cycle. It's within a few months, so that's pretty solid. Here it hits a little something there, a couple months. Nothing to write home about, but here it's pretty good. Pretty good right there. Pretty solid, nails that. There in 1949. So I'm just looking at this red cycle. 32, it hits it spot on. And 37 hits it spot on. It even hits this small little thing there in 43. Hits it again in 1949. I mean, really good. This cycle's solid in the early part of the century. Let's move forward here. Okay. Doesn't hit this. There's nothing really there, so, we call it like it is. If it doesn't hit, it doesn't hit. There's two little candlesticks there, but to be honest with you, there really wasn't much going on. And neither one of these, well, this cycle actually did a pretty good job back here. It hit this 1950, 52, 53, 54 stuff. It kind of hit it pretty good right in here. The red cycle really didn't do a very good job in this area. Okay, this cycle, though, is pretty good. I mean, it's within a few months of that nice decline. Okay, and both the 84-month and 68-month both do a really good job of hitting this cycle low here. Really good. Solid. Okay. There's a little something right there, but to be honest, it looks like the 84-month cycle is a little bit more solid. It's getting the better part of this decline. Right in here looks pretty good to me. And also, I do like the fact that this bigger cycle here hits it right in the middle. And before I move forward and as we get into more current times, what I want everybody to get is this isn't a competition between the 84-month and the 68-month cycle. Who's got the better cycle? I think human beings get too caught up in a lot of competition. We're kind of competitive by nature, yeah? What I want you to get by this point in the video is that both these cycles together are really very good. And you want to make use of them in conjunction with one another. Okay? Now, they don't, this red cycle is not a division of the white cycle. In other words, you can't evenly divide it by 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or anything like that. There may be some point it may be divisible, but I think 84 and 69 going to make it hard to be divisible. I'm sure it's there somewhere if you went out far enough, but that one is 84, this one's 69. So they don't really play nice as divisors, right? And it doesn't really matter, even though that's convenient. Convenience isn't the objective. Cycles working together is the objective. And when I see things like this, when they come together, that's really good. Okay. And when I see that this cycle, this white cycle, the 84-month cycle, where this low hits right in the middle, that's awesome. Okay. And I actually see that the red 68-month cycle is a little more consistent. Okay, let's move forward. It's a little bit more consistent. It hits a little bit more often. But that's kind of typical of short cycles. They tend to hit more often. Okay, let's look at right here. This is pretty solid right here. Pretty solid right there. 76, 77 coming down into there. Really nice. This is like I can't remember if the gas crisis. I think the gas crisis was like right in here. So the white cycle did a pretty good job getting close. This is really absolutely nailed it here for the shorter of the two cycles. Now for 1987, as we already talked about, the 84-month cycle nailed it. But this is pretty solid for the shorter cycle. This stuff, not bad. It kind of catches that 89, 90, 1990 stuff. Okay, let me move really far forward, keep track of what I got going on here. Okay. So here they come together quite nicely in the year 2001. Really nice, yeah? And here we have a price stall right in the middle of this red cycle. Really nice. Okay, the big cycle absolutely nailed this one. 2008, 2009. Here the red cycle does a pretty good job in 2013. And then the white cycle does a great job in 2015. See, collectively, I see these two cycles just really, really very good. I mean, when I see these two cycles, the way they're working together here, you're gonna pick up a lot of opportunity here. The shorter 69-month cycle picks up 2018 really nicely, yeah? Wow. And I think, and we don't know yet, but it looks like to me that this 69-month cycle is going to pick up this price stall right here as the market could be topping. I say could because we don't know. And if it does, then that's going to be right smack dab in the middle of this cycle. And you could potentially, if we do get that price stall, let's say this goes on for a while, it's not too far removed from this cycle low either, even though this is months, right? Maybe as much as a year. Okay. So at this point, as I get ready to finish up this video, I just want to share with everybody. Let's talk about where I think things are going. We'll just finish up with where things are going. Okay, so this, as I said already, for Steve Miller's cycle, he has it, I have it here kind of late August, September-ish. He has it July. I'm a happy camper either way. No complaints. And then this one ends in like June or July of 2024, okay? So really, you got kind of mid to late summer, I'm going to call it late summer of this year, and then kind of late summer, let's call it mid to, kind of middle of summer to maybe early autumn, okay? Like in that time zone. Maybe even like late spring to early autumn, okay, of 2022. And then when we come over here in 2024, a little bit earlier. So I would say like late spring to like middle of the summer. So very convenient to remember that, right? They're both basically kind of summertime-ish of 2022 and 2024. All right, they're 2 years apart pretty much. Probably like a month or maybe a couple months sliding either way, right? So really good. Really good, guys. I mean, what this tells me is I'm going to close out this video right now, is that there looks like there's a really serious price decline coming. And it could be starting now as we go into 2022, where Steve's got it, and then continue all the way to like 2024. Okay? Maybe it starts now, or maybe it starts later, whatever. Maybe it declines really hard now, or just begins to decline now a little bit and then comes hard into 2024, or maybe it's hard now. Okay, either way, when I look at these two cycles and the way that they're working together, and I'm looking at these indicators, okay, we have massive divergence signals that have been going on for months, like over a year. Remember, this is an entire year right here. Look at this divergence that's been going on. Okay, like 3/4 of this year, even longer than that, an entire year. Let's zoom in a little bit so that you guys can get a little bit better feel for what I'm talking about. Okay, now that you know, I think I'm in total agreement with Steve Miller. It does look like there's something for the middle of 2022, and I also think there's something for the middle of 2024. There's two cycles here that both say trouble ahead. Okay, but let's talk about the Big Daddy here. We have all these divergence warnings that have been going on for an entire year. That's an entire year right there. Now look at this Big Daddy. It's been talking to us. Look at this divergence that's been going on. I mean, it's just as plain as day to me. And you got the divergence dots showing up, and now you got a red one here for, I think that was December, or was that January? That's December, sorry. Because January's not over. Look at that big old red dot. I talked about, was this red dot going to stick around? I think it was on the S&P 500, but here it is on the Dow Jones Transportation. There it is. There's no getting around it. We got divergence warnings popping up here. We got a clear divergence. Prices are going this way, and the Big Daddy's going down. Okay, the MACD, not the MACD, the SMI, Stochastic Momentum Index, finally decided to join in on the fun right around in August of 2021. And what am I talking about? What do you know? Divergence dots, and it's clear there's divergence. Look, this is going down, and again, prices were going up. So the Big Daddy, for over a year, guys, has been telling us about a divergence that's coming on the monthly time frame. Okay? And SMI is joining in on the fun about, the last, let's call it 4 or 5 months. Okay? And now we got red divergence dots and red divergence dots together at the same time. Okay? So what happens when we see things like that? Well, we see price decline. 2 big months there and then more there. Okay? And we'll just keep an eye on this MACD. It hasn't pinched down. It's kind of wiggling around up here. Okay? But my take on long-term view, guys, is I see trouble ahead probably starting sometime in 2022, and it could go on all the way out to 2024. Doesn't mean it'll be straight down all the way. I think there's going to be price declines. We might be seeing some more. We might even get all-time highs. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? There's a lot between now and then. So I think in this time frame, okay, in that time frame right there, guys, middle of 2022 out to kind of like the middle of 2024, maybe a little bit later than 2024. It could go into like, early autumn of 2024. I see a lot of trouble in this area. There's just a lot of trouble coming over the next 2 years. I don't see us getting around it. I've seen it in the grains, trouble ahead in the grains. They've already given up a lot of ground. I think they'll bounce pretty good for a while, and then they'll give up some more ground. So that's my take long-term, guys. I actually I'm very much in agreement with Steve Miller on his cycle analysis for the long-term cycle analysis on the 84-month cycle. Looks really good to me. And I think the 68-month cycle is actually maybe even, I'm not going to say it's better, but when it's used in conjunction with the 84, they work really good together. So that's my take on that, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Give me a thumbs up. Really appreciate it. Don't forget to click that little bell to be notified of all the videos as I put them out. Take advantage of the membership, guys. $5.99 is a steal. It's seriously, that's super cheap. I made it that way so everybody can afford it. As we go into the new year, of course, I'll be starting up the videos again for all the futures products. Hope everybody had a really great Merry Christmas, okay, with family and loving on each other, and a Happy New Year to everybody. Talk to you all real soon again next time.